So we went to the movie theater tonight.
We did.
The movie theater. To see this movie, It's a Wonderful Knife. This is in the movie theater.
It was in the theater.
Yeah.
The movie theater.
You can't guess where this is about to head. Yeah, so okay. We got this girl who... It's weird because the plot... Basically, you've got this version. I'm sure you can guess by the title. I'm letting you guys guess a lot in this review, I guess. I guess that I guess.
Oh.
Jesus, I gotta stop guessing.
You're so guessy.
Yeah. I guess it's not a wonderful review. But it's a play on It's a Wonderful Life, and it's a like horror version of that. So if you know what that's about, you know what this is about. You know, somebody wishes they were never born, and then when they go to an alternate reality where they weren't. This one also is set on Christmas, and this is legitimately... I was asking Kaylee in the parking lot because I feel like there's another movie we said this about. I can't remember what it was, but this is, off the top of my head, this is the dumbest movie I've seen in theaters this year. It's not my least favorite movie I've seen this year, but for the amount of promise that I thought that it had going for it, it's probably the biggest disappointment, like, from watching the film and watching it just degrade and devolve from what I actually thought was a pretty fine opening that showed a lot of promise with a lot of talent. And I was just like, oh, okay, maybe this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And then, holy hell, once she makes that wish, from there on, it is just dumber and dumber to the point where it gets to the end. And I was actually like out loud, audibly like, what the fuck? Like, I couldn't help myself, but like actually announced there was only 2 other people in the theater.
Yeah.
But I was like genuinely shocked and confused to a point where I still can't wrap my head around how dumb this movie actually is.
It was really dumb. It was really, really dumb. I don't even know where to begin because there's a lot that we kind of already talked about in the car.
Yeah.
But, oh man, I mean, I won't say that I had huge expectations for it, but I think like my headspace with what I was wanting it to be was something kind of like Totally Killer, which I guess isn't fair because I really enjoyed Totally Killer and I thought it was a great movie and a really fun slasher.
Yeah.
And I was just hopeful that we would get something like that, but Christmas version, which would have been cool. And it is not even close to comparing to something like that.
Yeah.
It feels like a Goosebumps episode in like a bad way. It feels like a Disney Channel like horror in a bad way.
I agree.
But it's very bizarre because there's like cursing and there is a little bit of gore and blood and everything. Like it's definitely an adult movie, but the writing is very dumb, and I was gonna say superficial and weird and lame. And the plot and the story overall is just, by the end of it, like you know, you said, like it's just like we're so confused, it's so convoluted, it's so like everything gets tacked on at the end that would have been necessary elements to be like involving throughout the story in order for them to make sense and have like a payoff. And instead it's not. It's just...
So even though I can't technically prove this to be true, logic would suggest to me that the butterfly effect of you not existing would alter everything very drastically. Very, very drastically. And that is definitely not the way that this movie tries to play itself out. The way this movie tries to play itself out is she enters an alternate universe where she did exist, but then she was erased from everyone's memory.
Yeah.
That's basically what's going on here. Like, none of, I guess, her actions happen technically because they don't remember them, or they just remember other people did them. That's probably what it is. It's because, so if you want to fill in that blank, that'll make sense of things to a degree, but nowhere near all of it. But that was one thing that I was really struggling with, is like, you guys didn't even have fun with the butterfly effect. Yeah. You literally just took everything that we knew from before, because once she, you know, up until she makes that wish or whatever, you know, it sets up all of this stuff. And then I'm thinking, oh, all this stuff's going to be wildly different, and people are going to be like, you know, the nerdy girl is going to be the cool girl, and the jock is going to be like a burnout or whatever.
Yeah.
And she comes back and it's like, everyone's exactly the same. Everyone is still doing the exact same thing. Yeah. Everyone's still with the same people. Her parents still live in the same house. Like, her brother and all the stories that they tell are exactly the same.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, she has to prove, of course, this is not a spoiler, but she has to prove that she knows somebody by telling, and she's like, oh, this happened to you while you were here. And it's like, that wouldn't have happened had you not been born. Like, you might not think you matter, but you drastically alter everyone's lives around you, period. It's impossible for you not to. In existing, you drastically change everything in your vicinity for sure, but even wide stretch the world. It is such a compounding effect. It is the butterfly effect. You really do change things by being around. So the laziness of the imagination on display here in the writing is crazy to me. And the characters, there's so many cliches in this movie. It really is, once again, just kind of baffling to the mind, where I rolled my eyes so many different times.
Yeah.
You have the weirdo girl in this who, like, they're trying to do something sweet and endearing, and it actually comes off more insulting throughout the whole movie, to where I'm like, why would this girl put up with absolutely anybody, even the people who are supposed to be her friends in the end? Like, no.
Yeah.
And then there's something that happens in the last 10 minutes or so that just kind of becomes completely supernatural out of nowhere. Even though, yes, technically the wish she makes is supernatural. I'm telling you, there's no precedence for this supernatural element, and it is completely shoehorned in out of absolutely nowhere with zero context, and basically no one pays attention to it at all, and it is like a completely unaddressed thing that you're like, this seems like a big deal, and this seems like something you would talk about, like, at length when it was happening. Like, how is this happening? Why is this happening? And why wasn't this introduced earlier in the movie? Exactly. And why isn't it an overarching plotline device after she has the wish granted? They don't utilize this idea of her not being born and everything being different and the world being this alternate reality. It is shockingly unimaginative. It is shockingly poorly put together, conceived, directed, everything. This movie is abysmal.
Yeah. That's what I was meaning about, like, there's elements that should have been, like, involved throughout the story in order for it to make sense. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things, like, the acting from everybody is fine. The costume design of the killer I quite liked. And, like, the film looks good and everything. So I think the problem that we have is mostly with the direction and the writing. Because all the other elements are fine. Like, there's not anything, like, egregiously wrong with them. Except I hate how Justin Long looks in this. But that's intentional. But it's just, lazy is the best, like, descriptor for it, I feel.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that you should not waste your time seeing in theaters. And honestly, like,
no, at all.
Just not watch it and, like, be fine. And it's a shame because, like, of course we, want to be excited about every horror movie, but this one is...
I give no apologies to this one.
I'm not giving you an apology. I'm just like, it sucks.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And, with all these familiar faces, you've got the girl who
Yes.
plays Laura Lee from Yellow Jackets as the main girl. Super cute,
Mm-hmm.
super like charismatic. She is a capable lead. She can absolutely carry this film and does so despite its flaws.
Yes.
Like, I still liked her in the movie, but everything around her is just so childishly stupid.
Yeah.
That I could not get on board with absolutely anything going on ever.
I also really like the actress that played Bernie in this, and the character named Bernie. I thought she was very cute, and yeah, I think they did as good a job as they could have with the writing. Like, I do think that it's just like.
Well, I think the direction is what
direction,
takes away from chemistry that's missing. But I feel like they're like still somehow able to achieve some, despite there not being really any like good attempt at creating a chemistry between characters that we're supposed to feel. We got Catherine Isabel in here, who I haven't seen in a little while. I can't remember the last time I saw her, but it was good to see her. You got the main chick, the main, I won't say because that's kind of a spoiler, but one of the main girls from a movie we watched recently called Influencer, who really doesn't have much of a role in this. She's just kind of there for, but I was like, oh, there's that chick.
Yeah.
And there's familiar faces, as she said. Justin Long's in here.
Yes.
The dad. I always forget what his name is.
But I recognize him.
But he's in tons of shit.
He's in so much stuff.
So yeah.
Yeah, totally competent, actors and everything. So.
And I want to say that if memory serves, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to look at this up after we're done. But I want to say this is from the director. This is a director that I actually was like excited for after I had watched one of his movies. So I hope I'm wrong, honestly, because I really liked. He wrote this like love letter type of film. It was a total homage kind of film to Frank Henenlotter's Frankenhooker, and this movie was called Patchwork. And he did that, and he did Tragedy Girls, and I thought both of those were so cool. And I could be completely wrong here, but I swear this is this movie. Because I was like, oh, he's making another movie. It's a Christmas-themed horror movie. It's going to be on Shudder, but they're doing an early release in theaters, and it's going to be around us. Like, I swear this is the one that is that case. And if that's the case, that is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Right? Because, when we got into this, and that first 15, 20 minutes or so, I was like, I'm actually pretty into this. I actually like the setup. I like what's going on. I wish, of course, I could use more gore and whatever. Right. But whatever. I like the look of the killer. I think the actors are cool. It's getting itself set up to be good. Yeah. Right? And so what I started to convince myself of, because like everybody in the movie is gay and like interracial, I was like, oh, this is probably getting hated on for that, right? So I thought this was just going to be like, losers online who are like, I don't like gays and blacks and whites mixing and whatever the fuck, right? No, that's not the case. I don't care about any of that in the slightest. You can have a gayest interracial, you can have everybody in the movie can be gay, trans. I could give a fuck. I literally don't care at all. So, like, I thought I was chalking it up to that.
Yeah, in the beginning.
And then as the movie started to fall apart, I go, oh, no, that ain't it. Yeah. I'm honestly shocked this has as high of a rating as that it does currently on IMDb. This should be way lower. It's at a 5.6. Oh. That's crazy to me. This is in the 3s for me. Like, legit, I think this should be in the 3s. I think this is the dumbest fucking movie I saw all year. This is crazy stupid.
It's bad.
Like, if we were getting into spoilers right now, I just don't want to waste any more time. But I could ask you like 40 questions off the top of my head that I guarantee you not even the director has an answer to. This movie is inane in every imaginable way.
I mean, everybody has, hits and misses, right? So
there's no excuse for this laziness of writing.
But it is
it's
very
just
lazy.
it's not. I don't care what your limitations were, unless this was like studio meddling to the nth degree.
Right.
Unless his film literally got taken from him and he was like, I want Alan Smithy on the credits because straight up my movie was stolen and producers came in, and that actually would make a lot of sense because of how incoherent the film actually is.
Incoherent, yeah. And it's crazy to think that like next year we're getting a Terrifier 3, like a Christmas, like a legit Christmas slasher.
Yeah.
That, like,
which we got posters for.
We did. We actually got posters.
No, we did with them.
I don't know either, but
yeah, they had them at the theater, and she was like, "Here." So
don't watch this.
I can't waste another second on this god-awful movie. I'm shocked. Some of my friends were like, "Meh."
No, meh
is a compliment to this movie. Absolutely not. The more I talk about it, the more I hate it.
It's a terrible life.
Yeah, it was a terrible freaking night. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.